Okay, in this video, you guys are going to learn how to solve the problems that you just saw in your skills test. So question 1 says, using the equation I equals PRT, which equation would you use for the following solution? So the example says, you deposited $200 in a savings account 5 years ago and the interest rate is 1.5%. How much interest would you earn? So we want to start off by picking out our important information. So we see that it says deposited $200. $200 is what you put into your account, and so that's your principal amount. That's going to be P. Then it says that you did that about 5 years ago. That's going to be our time. Time is always going to be a measurement in years. And then we see interest rate is 1.5%. So they tell us that the rate R is going to be 1.5%. So because they give us P, R, and T, we know that we're solving for I. So I is going to stay as a variable. Now the two equations where I is a variable are the third and fourth equations. But we want to make sure that we're taking P, our principal, times R, our rate, times T, our time. Now this rate is given as 1.5%, and we know that percent means out of 100 or divide by 100. And when I take 1.5 divided by 100, I get 0.015. So because of that, I can see that my equation is not going to be the fourth one, it's going to be the third one. Let's move on to question number 2. So question number 2 says, decide whether the following question is looking for the part, the percent, or the whole. 8 is what percent of 18? So we always want to look for our question to see what we're looking for. And in this case, it says 8 is what percent of 18? Because it says what percent, that tells me I am looking for the percent. And they're giving me the part and the whole in the problem. So let's move on to question number 3. Question number 3 says, write a percent equation problem for the following question. What is 32% of 48? When we have a percent problem, we know that our formula for percent is part equals percent over 100 times the whole. When I look at the information that's given to me, first I see that I have a percent. I know that's what's going to go over 100. So I'm going to have 32 over 100. And now what I need to do is identify whether 48 is the part or the whole. One key word that we can see that tells us that it's the whole is this keyword of. Whatever it says percent of, that is going to be our whole amount. So 48 is going to be the whole, so I replace whole with 48, which means that what I'm trying to find is going to be the part, and we use the variable y for the part. Now in this case, in this problem, they used x, and really you can choose to use whatever variable you want. Next up, what we want to do is go ahead and simplify 32 over 100. 32 divided by 100 gives us 0.32. And so we can see that the formula or the equation that's going to be the same as the one written to the right is over here, x equals 0.32 times 48. Okay, number 4 says a store bought toys at a cost of $15 each. The store sold all toys at a percent markup of 30%. Find the selling price of each toy. So we see a lot of vocab words here. The first word that we see is percent markup. So we see that we have a percent markup of 30%. That means if we take 30% of the cost of the toy and then we add it on, that's going to give us the selling price. Selling price is what they actually sell it for at the store. So the store bought the item for $15 and then marked it up by 30% and now is selling it at a certain cost, and that's what we're trying to find. When we want to find when we want to find how much we marked up so that we can find the selling price, we want to take part equals percent over 100 times the whole, and our percent markup is always a percent of the original cost. So I'm going to take 30 over 100, and I'm going to multiply it by that original cost, $15, to find what is 30% of 15. 30 divided by 100 gives me 0.3. Then 0.3 times 15 is going to give me $4.50. So what I see is that I marked up the cost by $4.50. Now if the original cost was $15 and then I marked it up by $4.50, then if we add those together, 15 plus 450, we're going to see that the selling price of the toy would be $19.50. So selling price is going to be equal to the original cost plus how much we marked up the item. Okay, let's try number 5. So number 5 says, what is the percent decrease from 100 to 80? Anytime we have a type of percent change, whether it be percent increase or percent decrease, our formula is going to be percent change, or in this case percent decrease, equals the change, that means the difference between the numbers, how much the numbers changed, over the original amount. It's always going to be over the original. Now in this case, the change that's happening is from 100 to 80. It's decreasing from 100 to 80. So if I want to find the change, I subtract my values. I put it over the original. The original number was 100. 100 minus 80 is going to give me 20 over 100. So I changed from 100 to 80 by 20 over the original 100. Then what I want to do is get my answer as a decimal, so then I can make it a percent. 20 divided by 100 gives me 0.2. And if I want to make that a percent, I multiply it by 100 and I get 20%. So we would say that this is a 20% decrease. Now you may see a shortcut for this specific problem also, that because you have 20 over 100, percent means out of 100, you can go ahead right here and say, okay, well my percent is going to be 20%. So percent decrease is always the change over the original, divide it, then make it a percent. So the next question that we see says, suppose you deposited $200 in a savings account 7 years ago. The simple interest rate is 3.5%. The interest you earned in those 7 years is $49. Which of the following is or are true? Select all that apply. So we know that our simple interest formula is I equals PRT. I stands for the interest, or the amount that the bank pays you when you give them your money, when you deposit your money there. Your principal is the amount of money that you put into the bank or you deposit. The R is going to be your rate, the interest rate. T represents time. So let's start off looking at our problem that we have here. So it says that I deposited $200. So that tells me that the principal, what I put into the bank, is $200. And it says that I put this in 7 years ago. That's our amount of time, T. And then it says the simple interest rate is 3.5%. Since it says simple interest rate, we know that that's going to be R. And then they say the interest that you earned in those 7 years is $49. So it says the interest is $49. And they ask us which are true. Now the interest, we know that's going to be I. So the first thing they say is that P equals 200. We can see up here that we said that P is 200, so that is going to be true. The next thing is that the rate is 3.5%, and we see that that is also true. Next, they tell us that I, interest, is $7, but what we see right here is that we said our interest was $49, so that one is not going to be true. And lastly, they say that T, time, is 49. That's not true either because our time is 7. They mixed up their interest and their time. And so the only two things that are true is that the principal is 200 and the rate is going to be 3.5%. Okay, moving on to number 7. Number 7 says 6 is what percent of 24? So this is a basic percent problem, which means we're going to use our percent formula. Part equals percent over 100 times the whole. Now notice what they ask for here. They say 6 is what percent of 24? So those words, what percent, tell me that I'm going to put a variable in for my percent. So instead of percent over 100, I'm going to write m over 100. Usually we use the variable m for percent. And now I need to identify what is the part and what is the whole amount. My keyword of tells me what is the whole. And so of is next to 24, which means that 24 is my whole amount. So where I see whole, I'm going to replace that with 24, which by default tells me that 6 is going to be the part. Also, we can think of this as 6 is equals what percent m over 100 of means times 24. So those are two different ways you can think about this. Next step is that we want to try to solve this for m. Now the easiest way to start this, we do want to start by drawing a line down our equal sign. Easiest way to start this is by getting rid of this 24 first. Now notice that the 24 is being multiplied to m over 100. So if I want to get rid of that multiplication, I have to do the inverse operation, which is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 24. And when I do that, it cancels it out on the right side. On the left side of my equation, 6 divided by 24 gives me the decimal 0.25. But notice we still have m over 100 on the right side of the equal sign, the right side of our equation. So now I have the equation, now that I got rid of 24, 0.25 equals m over 100. Now I want to get rid of that 100. I just want to have m by itself. And to do that, we undo division by multiplying. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 100. 100 times 0.25 is going to give me 25. 100 cancels out on the right side to leave me with m. So I get 25 equals m, and your m represented our percent. So that's 25%. So our answer for this one is 25%. So we have 3 more problems to go. Number 8 is our next one. Number 8 says the sales tax in a city is 8%. Write an equation to find the sales tax charged on a purchase of $550. Now we have a specific tax formula that comes from part equals percent over 100 times whole, and that is tax equals the tax rate, or percent over 100, times the sale, or the cost of an item. So our goal is to figure out our sales tax. So we're going to figure out what tax is. Our percent is 8%. So I'm going to fill in 8 over 100. And you can use a variable or you can just write tax for tax. And we see here it says write an equation to find the sales tax charged on a purchase of $550. So the sale was $550, or the cost was $550. Okay, the first thing that we want to do here, because everything is on the right side of the equation, we don't have a variable to get by itself, I can just start simplifying. I start off with my percent. So I take 8 divided by 100, and I get 0.08. So 0.08 times 550. Next, now that I've got my percent as a decimal, I'm ready to multiply. 0.08 times 550 gives me 44. which means that I paid a total of $44 in tax. Now, if we look over to the left, the equation that works that way is going to be x equals what we see here, 0.08 times 550. Okay. Number 9 says Sally is a stockbroker. She earns 4% commission each week. Last week, she sold $8,400 worth of stocks. How much did she make in commission? So commission is another application to percent, kind of works the same as tax. Our commission is equal to our percent commission over 100 times the amount that you sold, so your sales. So when somebody earns commission, they get a percent of what they sell back, and they earn that as their income. Now notice what it says here. So notice what it says here. Sorry about that. She earns 4% commission, so that's going to be our percent. It says last week she sold $8,400. That's going to be our sales. So commission is equal to our percent, 4%, so 4 out of 100, times our sales, 8,400. 4 divided by 100 is where we start, just like the last example. 4 divided by 100 gives me 0.04 times 8,400. I multiply those two numbers together, and that's going to give me $336 in commission. So for selling $8,400 worth of stocks, Sally earned 4% commission back, so she earned $336 of that in commission. Okay. So we have one last example. It says, what is the percent increase from 20 to 25? Just like the percent decrease problem, percent increase, we find it by taking the change over the original amount. Now in this case, I'm increasing from 20 to 25. So I'm going to subtract my numbers, 25 minus 20, over my original amount. It says from 20 to 25, so that means my original amount is 20. And then I want to simplify that. 25 minus 20 gives me 5 over 20 still. 5 divided by 20 gives me 0.25. To make that a percent, I multiply 0.25 by 100, and I get 25%. So this is going to be a 25% increase from 20 to 25.